guys.
ROMEOs.
How are we doing today?
Awesome.
Awesome.
good.
That's
By the way-
again, awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
What do you attribute awesome to?
My
Because-
awesomeness.
Nope. Really, this is not going to go well.
I think very highly of myself.
No.
That's one.
Well,
Welcome back, guys.
How are the others doing?
very
Dominic,
good.
you good?
Always.
Are you in a good place?
Always?
Excellent. Aki,
Ready to Romeo, boys.
ready to what?
Ready to Romeo.
What
Wow.
exactly?
That's
I've
a verb.
reached the point right now, right? We could we're a
Romeoing,
verb.
Romeoing.
When you're a verb, you've made it.
Wow.
Okay, since you're a verb,
Yes.
other words come to mind, but I'll stick with if you're a verb.
Perv. Sorry. Yes.
The night is young.
Do you care to welcome our audience back, Aki?
We want to welcome everybody. We love hearing from you. Please subscribe. And then, of course, the more polite version of that.
Get
over
off
to
your
you, Noran.
asses and subscribe.
I was being sarcastic, but yes, we love to hear from you. Really enjoy
Ironic?
your company.
Ironic. Ironic.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Better choice of
Anyway,
word, but that's okay.
welcome back.
Feedback is welcome.
So, what are we
Ideas
talking
are
about?
welcome.
What are we talking about, people?
We're going to talk about something that one of our viewers suggested.
That's what
Awesome.
I'm talking about. See?
Awesome.
Viewers?
We invite people to weigh in. They have, and so we should honor them.
Okay.
What we're going to talk about today
Is
has
Next topic.
has narcissism become an epidemic?
has narcissism become an epidemic? I think highly of that.
Never disappoint.
So we won't disappoint. We're going to ask Dominic to get us started.
Oh
on
my
this topic.
God. Well, I think, yeah, for sure. But not just in politics. I think everywhere. Everywhere. On the roads, yeah, in line in a store, everywhere. Yeah, I think, now, was it something else before? We just noticed it more now? I don't know. Definitely.
Oh, I think definitely as well, and I think it has a lot to do with social media and everyone thinking that they're great at everything. It also has to do with kids being raised with participation trophies and everyone being supported, and all of this stuff has culminated
what a salad.
into a society.
What a salad.
Well, I'm tossing it for you, baby. Allow me to toss my salad, okay?
Pour on the dressing, Noran. Pour on the dressing.
Well, you're going to see my dressing real soon. It's going to be Thousand Island, baby. Okay, so seriously, guys. I mean,
No, but
try. Okay, can you refute what I just said? With society going the
you're
way
right.
it is, all the social media crap, everyone's me. Everything's about how great I am. Look at me, rap culture. Look at how many cars I have. Look at all the women I can bang.
why single
Look-
out rap culture? I mean,
I'm just saying
entertainment.
I'm just.
The only,
There are layers, my
Noran,
friend.
Noran,
I'm just adding the layers on top of one
All right.
another.
the only issue I have, and it really is the only one with what you said,
Okay.
is that there hasn't been an episode yet where you haven't raised social media and its influence on whatever the subject is we're discussing.
I think, but we're all
That
guilty
aside,
of that.
I can't disagree with you.
Well, if you can't disagree with me, then don't shit on me, my friend.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
So, well, look,
That just speaks to the influence of social media.
Yeah, no
Absolutely.
kidding, 100%.
Does.
to your point, though, I mean, isn't there a difference between lack of manners and just being an asshole versus being a narcissist?
Oh, there's okay.
One leads to
whoa,
the
whoa,
other.
Whoa. We're confusing. Why are we going there? Let's take a step
Because
back.
he gave the example of lineups
And
and
you know
people
what?
in
He gave
public,
the
the way they
example-
behave in public.
Fine. Then you provide a definition
Yeah.
of
What do you think?
what a narcissist is.
Yeah, what do you think it is?
Narcissist to me is somebody supremely arrogant. They think they are the best person in the room all the time. Is that close to home, Noran?
Are you describing yourself?
I don't think. Oh, that one. I don't think that one will not land. That one will not land.
So how is that not applicable to somebody waiting in line and he thinks he's...
No, they're just stupid. They have bad manners. I don't know. It doesn't mean that they think they're the smartest one in the in the lineup.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So we're talking about Costco.
It's a matter of self-importance, thinking that the
Exactly.
world revolves around you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, you're the center of the universe.
Right? At the utmost level.
It's all about you. Narcissism is all about you. right?
Yeah.
So whatever is happening, I feel a discomfort. It doesn't matter what you feel. It doesn't matter what's happening around the world. The most important thing is the discomfort I feel at this moment right now. So I got to deal with this, and I don't care what you think. I don't care about your feelings. I could stomp all over you. Doesn't matter. It's all
You're
about
an
me.
expert.
Well, that's what it is.
you
But
really
this is the
nailed
world
it.
as we
No,
see it.
he wasn't illustrating. He was just being himself.
No, I was illustrating. Me. No, but seriously, guys, this is the world we live in. You got so many people who just, they believe they're the center of the universe.
So are we narcissists for doing a podcast?
Yes.
So I think at this point, that's his honest answer. If you feel differently, weigh in. So I've heard Dominic suggest that it is in fact becoming an epidemic.
Definitely.
It's everywhere.
I agree with him 100%.
But did the viewer suggest that because of this Trump recent win?
It preceded that, and
Preceded
I
that.
don't think I didn't get the impression anyway that it was solely because of Trump. The fact that the person suggested that we tackle it as an epidemic means that it's not just about one person.
No, but that's a really interesting point, because to me it's like a wave that's also culminated in politics being taken over. Not that it hadn't been full of narcissists before, but this whole narcissistic tendency has blown up, and you've got a lot of political leaders who are really, really narcissistic as well, more so than prior generation.
I disagree.
I would think.
I disagree.
Well, I think
Julius Caesar, Bonaparte,
I wasn't there.
Adolf Hitler,
I wasn't there.
all narcissists.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, I think it's been more prevalent in political circles. You look back to all the emperors, conquerors, dictators,
But those-
all narcissists.
But Pat, those were authoritarian regimes and countries. I think
How did they get that way?
Right. Okay. My point though is, if you look at what we have now is somebody, yes, in the person of Donald Trump, that made it mainstream.
Why are we going there?
To celebrate, because narcissism, that is the purest form of narcissism that we have in modern times. I think.
And Joe Biden pardoning his son isn't narcissistic.
No, it's no.
Had nothing to do with that.
Don't confuse judgment and political choices with personality.
That was a
and
political
character.
choice?
And character.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to call
talk about
time out.
Come on.
So we can either credit Donald Trump for a whole bunch of things, or we can blame Donald Trump for a whole bunch of things. But I'm going to suggest that we resist the urge to do so during the course of this conversation.
Okay.
Because it's too easy to go there. And I think this is an issue that is far, far, far greater than Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump being where he is and being who he is illustrates the matter.
Yep.
But he's not the causal factor.
The acceptance of narcissism is out there. Everyone's accepting of it now, much more so than before.
Celebrated.
It is celebrated. You're right. I agree.
And this is what Donald Trump has
Forget
brought.
Donald Trump.
But
step back and say, look, why don't we just step back and say, yeah, it's being celebrated. Why? Because everyone's narcissistic, and when they see narcissistic tendencies in others, they see themselves. And it's okay now.
Wouldn't you agree that a generation ago, narcissism was something that wasn't that flamboyant? It was more curved. It was more discreet. People, were not.
It's never discreet. By its nature, it's not discreet.
Well, listen. So again, we talked about social media. We talked
look
about
at in democratic societies, narcissism wasn't something that was considered to be an advantage. So narcissists kind of were not all out there the way they are now. This is what I'm saying.
So I think we're missing. I think we're missing the point. I think narcissism has always existed.
True.
I think it's always been apparent in the higher echelons of society, whether it's political or business related. I think what may have changed, and this is what the viewer is suggesting, and I agree with it, is that it has grown to such a degree that it looks like an epidemic.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I think social media, I think, forget rap. I'm talking about...
No, think of the Kardashians as an example.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about much music when videos started coming out. So all of a sudden, when music videos started coming out in the 80s, you would see a depiction of a lifestyle that was being put out there. And I'm not going to crap on rap, as it were, because it's not just about that music. It's just about music in general, depictions of how you should live your life, how many cars you should have, how much jewelry you should be wearing, how many women you should be with if you're a guy, or how many guys you should be with if you're a woman. Now with, Cardi B and WAP and all of the other stuff that's been coming out more recently. So it goes on both sides. It's not just the men.
He's up to date.
Very up
Well,
to
that's
date.
a few years old, but anyway.
But he is up to date.
Yeah, more so. Okay, so
We'll ride on his bullshit
I'm a
coattails.
cool old guy.
He's into pop culture.
Yeah. So
At least the music part of it, anyway. But the point is that a lot of this stuff was being well received by the people who were receiving that information. And now, afterwards, when social media came out and continued this egotistical, this me-centric type of mindset, well, how can we not have a situation where it's taken over the world? I think it's just
I
a
agree.
result.
Yeah, I think technological innovation has allowed it to grow to previously unforeseen levels.
Yeah.
It's always been there.
And people are accepting of it. That's the thing. Before, you'd see a narcissist and you'd say, look at this person. They're so full of themselves. Now it's like,
I don't think so.
Look, this person loves themselves. This is fantastic. We should all be like
No, this person's authentic. There's no bullshit around this person. It's all authentic.
It's your authentic me.
Yeah, it's the authentic. This is what we like. We want to have, filters are bad. I mean, good sense is bad. Manners, we don't need that shit. We need to say it the way it is. Spill our guts. And here are these people that are doing it, and we applaud them, regardless of what they say, what they represent.
Is he talking about the ROMEOs right now?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
You just described this podcast. What the hell?
to extend your point, that narcissism and business leaders that we see these days, we see that a lot.
Yeah.
But,
Elon Musk.
So I'm sorry. Henry Ford wasn't a narcissist.
oh, probably was. Yeah, he probably was.
He didn't have that visibility. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, again,
The,
social-
platforms
oil
weren't there.
barons. The oil barons weren't narcissists.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
sure.
the platforms weren't there. It was.
Jean-Paul Getty wasn't a narcissist.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course they were.
Okay.
Of course they were. But they were also.
So what's changed?
Because they were also
social media.
Yeah,
Right.
Social media is now
Right.
there
Back to
to
social
amplify
media.
the shit out of
it
everything.
amplifies everything.
Well, it doesn't just amplify. It allows the otherwise average person to display him or herself in a way that allows him to exercise narcissism.
Yeah, because they see their heroes being narcissists. So when you love an Elon Musk and he's clearly a narcissist, and you say, "Wow, I admire this guy. He's the richest man on the planet. He's got SpaceX.
Exactly.
He's put electrification on onto the planet." You admire the guy, so you want to emulate someone you admire. And because now he's on social media and you could see what a narcissist he is, well, why not? I'm going to be a narcissist too, because that's what got Musk to where he is.
So
Right?
you articulated something just now that requires more thought than I think most people put into it.
Unless people are lazy, that's why.
People just want their 15
something we've
minutes
been
of
saying
fame.
in every episode practically.
They just want their 15 minutes of fame.
started.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that a Kim Kardashian or
She had more than 15 minutes.
No, I'm saying her influence
Oh,
may
yes.
have been far greater in this regard than Elon Musk, because you look at Elon Musk and it's hard for the average person to imagine that they could ever replicate what he's accomplished.
Kardashians pop.
But with Kardashians, they well, what do I have to do? Perform a sexual act, record it, put it on social media, get my butt cheeks injected? Like, what do I need to do to achieve that level? It doesn't require any special talent or skill.
Oh, no.
Haktua!
There you go.
There you go.
Case in point.
Well,
I think
good point.
I think that's what contributes to the epidemic.
Yeah.
Yep.
She seems to be more down to earth than most of the
Well,
others.
and look, and before her, I think one of you had mentioned one point Paris Hilton.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was one of the
Right?
the
She
first
came-
ones out there.
She
Her-
came from a famous family,
Nicole
but,
Richie.
but
and-
people would have
yeah.
been hard pressed to name one member of that family.
Yeah.
The family name was known. That was about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But she became a celebrity doing what?
being famous.
Being famous. Famous for being famous. And that's now through social media accessible to virtually everyone.
Yeah. And it's leading to the narcissistic tendencies that we're seeing in everyone that used to be the purview of the super rich and some politicians, to your point earlier. And now all of a sudden, everyone that looks up to anyone whether they be in politics, whether they be in singers, musicians, Hollywood celebrities. All of these folks are narcissistic by nature, and now all of a sudden they're being emulated by the rest of the planet who want to be as narcissistic as these guys are and gals.
But is it more a celebrity thing? I mean, or is it on Main Street?
Well, it is on Main Street because it's being emulated by normal folks who want to be like Mariah Carey, or who want to be like Celine Dion, or who want to be like whatever.
I don't know.
Name a
here's
singer,
the thing.
Adele.
I think that
She's more down
I
to
think
earth.
that historically, the term narcissist or narcissism has had negative connotations.
Yes.
I'm not sure it's
point.
true today. Certainly not to the degree it once was.
Yeah, good point.
I agree completely with that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Absolutely.
That's
Then
because
why
you're a
don't you say
narcissist.
it?
Because I did. I mean, this is why I'm saying now.
You must think
now,
so highly of yourself.
Now it is. It was a time where I know it's a contradiction, and I'm going to repeat that. Being flamboyant. Being a narcissist. You kind of, even though you were narcissistic, you realized that you had to be careful about how you went out into the world and you presented your narcissism.
No, I disagree.
I think there was
That's
some
not a
filtering
narcissist.
there.
A narcissist does not go through that thought process.
No, exactly.
You
They
know,
just feel it's all
I
about
walk,
me.
I
in a
walk on
democracy-
water. It's all about me. All eyes on me. All attention on
Yeah.
me. I can do anything.
He's alone in the world.
Right, but in a democracy, I think there was more reticence of being over the top with your narcissism. I think there was that. And now I think it's gone completely the opposite direction, where being a narcissist is a winning formula.
Okay,
And this
so
is what
what-
people
so what
want.
changed?
So
What
give them
changed?
more.
Okay,
I
so
think it
what
changed?
changed?
A sense of entitlement. I think social media absolutely is a big driver, and I think certainly champions, what I call champions of narcissism. And yes, the
So
president-elect of the United States is in that club.
So you're repeating what I said a few minutes ago, essentially,
What changed? Well,
right?
But I'm doing it better than you.
what
And
cha-
why is that?
Because he's a narcissist.
what changed is that success has come to these narcissists.
Well, they always.
Many of them achieved success previously.
Exactly.
Again, you became emperor.
Yes.
You became a dictator. You became a business
Head
leader.
of industry, exactly.
Right?
All the industry leaders, all CEOs, or most CEOs.
How is that not success?
But wasn't it more behind the scenes? Like you exercise that, you're ultra narcissistic behind the scenes, but not so much in public? Or am I
Again,
wrong?
because Caesar and Napoleon and Hitler
Yeah, but
and
they
all
were
these people are behind the
dictatorships.
scenes.
They were dictatorships.
And
Well, dictatorship, anything goes. Doesn't matter.
Henry Ford was behind the scenes. And come on.
Getty was behind the scenes. Getty wasn't much of a public figure. No, am I wrong?
No, I think there are certain cases. Howard Hughes would be one
But he wasn't. I wouldn't call
where
him a narcissist.
due to certain mental health issues.
Yeah, but wasn't narcissism.
Yeah, but in
he was-
general, listen, we don't want to start picking and choosing. In general,
Okay.
if you're a CEO of a billion-dollar company,
You were under the radar a little bit. No, in the old days, you were a little bit under the radar,
excuse
a little
me,
bit discreet.
when you say under the radar, if you're talking about the staff that had to deal with this person in a meeting,
Yeah.
with the underlings that this
Public
person had, I
persona.
don't think so.
I think I'm talking about public persona.
No, these guys they walked on water. It's like what I say goes. When CNBC puts a microphone into a CEO's mouth to pick their brain, you think it doesn't make them feel good? You think they don't feel like they're better than other people?
Okay, so Naran, did they take up that much airspace? I mean, that much oxygen back then?
Again,
I don't remember anybody like
It's because we didn't have social media. This is all we're saying. We're saying that the
Or the
advent
80s.
of,
Okay, if you take the example of the 80s.
okay, in the 80s were there cell phones?
Well, it was the beginning of cell phones.
No, it
but
wasn't. Not
to
the
same
80s.
extent.
The
Yeah, but
90s
still-
was
but
the beginning
still-
of cell phones.
But still, I mean, we had a pretty much open media platform, and did we?
No, we didn't.
Well,
we had three.
I don't remember.
Three
I don't
channels
remember.
in
I
the
don't
U.S.
Ted Turner's there. One example. Ted Turner's a good example. I wouldn't call Ted Turner a narcissist. Ted Turner was always, like a reasonable guy, a super successful guy that everybody wanted to talk to. Everybody invited to do interviews.
Do you
with.
know him personally?
But I mean, he didn't take up. I mean, his persona, his public persona, wasn't a narcissistic.
Okay, but what's your point?
We're not looking for examples of individuals who
Yeah,
weren't narcissists.
in general-
So what about a Hugh Hefner?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
So?
yes.
Or a Bob Guccione?
Mega narcissistic.
Not as successful, but yes.
Yes. Yeah. Mega narcissists. You're right. Those are good examples.
How about anyone in Hollywood?
But they were kind of outliers. They weren't.
How about Weinstein?
Nobody would.
Sorry, how are they outliers?
Well, they weren't. You couldn't imagine, Hefner as being president of the United States or being a senator or holding like a serious position,
Well, if he was alive now, he'd be.
right?
He'd
I
be-
mean,
I think he'd be head of some department right now.
The cabinet.
You know,
yeah.
it's not a question whether you could imagine it,
Yeah.
because before Ronald Reagan became president, he was a governor of a state. Before being governor of that state, he was an actor.
And a
So
union chief.
It's a question of what they aspire to, what they see the possibilities being.
But
for
I'm talking about
themselves.
their persona. I mean, it might be people who are very confident and
I don't think it wasn't all that common.
wanted to be liked.
It wasn't all that common before Reagan did it for actors to become public figures in terms of holding, fairly significant government office.
Yep.
It wasn't common.
Then there was Arnold and Jesse Ventura.
But even
It became much more commonplace, of course.
right. But even if you would go back, and I'll take Reagan as an example, and if you just if you would listen to the way they would present themselves and what they would say in public in their public speeches, they were not narcissists. It wasn't about them. It wasn't about being the best and the smartest. It was more nuanced. No, it was more civil.
So was it more nuanced? Yes. For you to suggest that they weren't narcissists, I think is a naive view.
Yeah, and let's get back to today.
I think they learned to portray themselves a certain way, to behave a certain way.
And why did they do that? I mean, why did they have to adjust that and learn something there?
because they needed people's
Because
votes.
that society was different. Because
No,
narcissism was looked at with a lot of suspicion.
Yeah, but today, let's fast forward to today. Do we believe that narcissism is a bad thing in general in society, or do people look up?
Do we think it is, or does society think it is?
Let's say society. Does society think,
No.
in our view, do we think society believes narcissism is a bad thing or a good thing?
No, it's celebrated. It
is,
It's
exactly.
celebrated.
I don't know
We
that it's
applaud it.
celebrated. I would
Society
say,
applauds it.
I would say most members of society don't give it a second thought.
Or they applaud it, one or the other. I think at best it's neutral. At worst, it's applauded and venerated.
Yeah, venerated.
I don't think they applaud it. I don't see that many people applauding narcissism.
Well, look at
I think they do because people are looking up to narcissists and trying to be like them. This is why we have this epidemic of narcissism.
I don't think they're focused on the narcissism. I don't think they're thinking to themselves, "Oh, that's a narcissist. I want to be a narcissist too."
Okay, so you're just
no,
saying...
but they're accepting them.
Mo, you're giving people too much credit.
No, but Pat, they accept them as role models. Whoever you want to point to.
Not because
Yeah.
they're narcissists.
Yes, because they're narcissists. Because they can say they can say what's on their mind. They can be, they don't have to worry about filters. They can say anything, and they'll get applause lines all the time.
Not because they're narcissists.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, so they're not being introspective and saying I'm a narcissist. They're just behaving that way. To your point. Yeah. Okay.
They're brave. They're a celebrity.
Tomato.
They're rich. They're this. They're that. That's what resonates with them.
Yeah.
They don't even think of them as narcissists.
Yeah, they're just emulating who they look up
Either
to.
a behavior,
Yeah. Fair enough.
or a persona, or a way of life.
Well, the result is the same, right?
I think the result is what has led to the epidemic.
Yeah, and it's the same. Whether they're thinking about it or not, they're doing it. And for whatever reason they're doing it, whether it's looking up to a celebrity or whatever,
It's a winning
and
formula.
emulating. That's interesting. It's a
And
winning.
what do you
formula.
mean by that?
I like that. I like that.
To do well in public life in general. I'm not talking about just government, just public life. To be out there, to be a narcissistic, to be full of yourself, to
Wow.
be confident is a winning formula. You do
there's
well.
there's a difference between
Interesting.
confidence and narcissism.
Well,
And it's not a short hop.
so wait a second, guys. I think Aki's right.
On what point?
that hurt me a little bit, but I think
Get
Aki's
over
right.
it.
you.
Get over it and tell
Thank
us,
you.
what is he right about?
Well, his comment that it's a winning formula, and I do agree with him. That
Don't be afraid. It's okay. Don't be afraid.
it's like I want to bite on my glove.
Get a grip. Get a grip. Welcome to the light.
That's just rolling.
I don't know that it's a winning formula. I just think
I think it's perceived as
it's
a winning
not-
formula.
it's
To his
not-
point,
I don't think it's perceived that way. I just think that, again, people are not giving it a second thought.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's a winning formula. It's that it's not a deterrent. It's not perceived to be an obstacle to achieving
no,
success.
I don't think they're thinking about it. To your point, I think it's just
Right.
they're looking at who they want to emulate, and those people are
They're inspired
clearly
by it.
narcissistic, and they're saying, "Well, shit," they're not thinking about it. They're just emulating that person,
They are inspired by it.
and they're inspired.
They're not
by it.
inspired by narcissism.
No,
they
they're
are.
inspired by the winning.
No, but you're not saying the same thing.
I know. I see what
They
you're
are
getting
inspired
at,
by-
right? But it's such a thin line.
It's not a thin line. It's a significant line.
Yeah, they are inspired by the narcissistic personality.
You're-
No.
Oh, I
they're
think so.
they're inspired by the
success.
individual's success.
By the success. You're saying the same
result.
thing.
No, we're not. We're saying something completely different.
No, you're not. You're saying something, two flip sides
Well,
of the same coin.
for the sake of this argument, the narcissistic examples that we're talking about are also successful people.
Yes.
They are well-to-do people, people of means, wealthy people.
So in the minds of the individual, they're emulating the success. They're not thinking about narcissism, to your point, but his comment about it's a path to success is, they're not thinking about the narcissism, but the narcissism and those other behaviors to the person seems to be a path to success. That's why they're emulating that entire behavior, including the narcissism. So that's why I say you guys are kind of saying the same thing. I get your point. They're not thinking about it, but they're emulating the entire package, and narcissism is part of that package.
And isn't that also the appeal?
And that's where I agree with him.
right.
So can
Right?
narcissism be positive?
Can it be positive?
Yeah.
In what terms?
Well, in terms of somebody who's narcissistic has positive impact on society.
Well, that's again the case of President-elect
You mean
Trump.
in spite of themselves?
No, don't bring Trump into
No,
it.
no.
Look at Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Well, another
exactly.
one. Yeah, another
Do you think
one.
he's
So-
done positive
so-
stuff for the earth?
Yeah.
But
So
Has he?
to his point,
it's not necessarily part of the design. And what I mean by that is ultimately the narcissist cares about him or herself
Okay.
above everything else.
And
Yes.
then
So that doesn't prevent them from saying and doing things that are going to have broader positive impact.
well, the point I wanted to make is that somebody is so narcissistic that he doesn't see any barriers, doesn't see any, and he goes for it.
Let me put it a different way. If that person believes they're the smartest person in the world,
That's
and
it.
they happen to be the smartest person in the world, then are they really being narcissistic?
no.
Yes.
No. Yes.
However, their belief in themselves is founded, and they can actually achieve amazing things. To Dominic's point,
We're
right?
we're putting so many things into the pot. Being a narcissist doesn't mean that everything you say is wrong or incorrect or false.
Correct.
To my point,
It doesn't.
You could be the smartest person in the world and still be a narcissist, thinking you're the smartest person in the world.
But there are guys. I can't. Okay, guys, help me here. There are.
right?
Let's take up.
But you're not wrong.
But there are examples. There are examples of people who are clearly narcissistic, but they were justified in being so. I mean,
No, I'm going to stop you there. So you can be proud, you can be confident.
overconfident.
Those are character traits or attributes that I'm absolutely fine with. But I don't think narcissism is a character trait that we should be good with. I don't think it's healthy for broader society.
Definitely not for broader society, because you can't have a billion smartest people of the world.
Supremely talented and capable people
Yes.
are going to be successful in life regardless of what their self-image and sense of self-worth and
Okay.
Of course, you're correct. However,
right. But
They're being put
it's
on a
not-
pedestal.
It's not an attractive quality. No. It's not, in my view, a character trait or characteristic that should be celebrated.
But if you validate it, if your narcissism
Fair.
is validated, if your narcissism is validated and translates into success and into making the world a better place,
his point is you don't have to be a narcissist
It isn't
for it
your
to happen.
design point. That's my whole issue is nothing prevents a narcissist from making positive contributions to society.
You can be humble and a genius.
But that is not what they intend to do first and foremost.
But-
it's a byproduct.
but is that not? Is that
As opposed to a person who is very capable, huge potential, but sees him or herself as being of service to others, as being placed on this earth not for self-serving reasons, but for the purpose of making the world a better place.
Yeah.
So, there's one person who comes to mind because I think that this individual's profile has changed over the years. Bill Gates is who I have in mind. If I think of Bill Gates as a supremely successful 20-something-year-old, I think of a narcissist. I really do. He thought of himself as smarter than everybody else. He thought of himself as more capable. He thought of himself as all the things that you would typically attribute to a narcissist.
Okay. Like Steve Jobs as well.
But I don't think Steve Jobs ever changed.
No.
I think Bill Gates has changed.
I
don't think that Bill Gates today is a narcissist. I think that he views himself as being on this earth to achieve something greater.
Yeah, Warren Buffett got to him.
Perhaps a number of people got to him. I think the Warren Buffett influence was probably a positive one.
Yeah.
But I never remember. I never remember Gates in his public pronouncements, singing his own praises and always, telling his audience how fantastic and intelligent he is.
He was telling them how great Microsoft was.
Well, and
Which was
beyond
him.
that, so you know what? Unfortunately, if we can put you in front of some people who sat in a boardroom with Bill Gates, and look, there are countless examples. I'll use an example in Canada. I don't know if the name Tellier rings a bell with anyone.
Yeah.
Very successful individual who ran
Chief of
CN
Staff.
at one point, Canadian National Railways.
Yeah.
I had the good fortune of knowing someone who was in an executive position with that organization, was a very capable, bright individual, and who would share with me off the record, but I'll share it now, stories about Tellier would take great pleasure in bringing grown men, executives, successful individuals to tears by ripping them apart in a boardroom.
Yeah, that was fair game.
All to enhance his sense of self-worth,
Yeah.
right? That's despicable.
There are a lot of executives.
By the way, that describes Steve Jobs, that describes a younger Bill Gates, and countless other executives.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I've
But Bill
witnessed
Gates
some-
has changed. Now, full disclosure, I never was in a situation with Bill Gates where I saw a display of narcissism. I know people who have, and I'm relying on their honesty and integrity to share this, and I have no reason to doubt them.
So narcissism really has nothing to do with the stage, whether it's a public stage or it's a private stage. A narcissist is a narcissist.
Because wherever you are in
Period.
the world as a narcissist, that world
Period.
revolves around you.
Okay.
You're going to be the most important person,
Yeah.
regardless of where you are.
Yeah.
Everybody there has a role to play in ensuring that they meet your agenda, not the other way around.
Have you tried merging onto a highway recently? How many people let you go in front of them without trying to just cut you off, right? The world has become.
I'm sorry.
Are you using your turn signal?
You know what? When I use my turn signal to go from a middle lane to the right or to the left lane, and you see a car behind us, maybe a car 1.5 car lengths behind you,
Right, and they speed up.
and they speed up as soon as they
I
see
know.
it.
We've all been there.
So what do? I just go anyway, and then they have to slam on
But
the brakes or hit me.
But those are narcissists
Exactly.
who believe that you are a narcissist
No.
and they don't want to let you get the upper hand.
They are narcissists, and I'm an asshole. So if they want to be
Okay.
narcissists, I'm going to be an asshole, and I'm going to cut them off, and so be it. But
No. If there's no turn signal, absolutely.
No,
it's
no,
war.
with
but
the
with a
terms.
turn signal,
Yeah,
absolutely,
and they want
absolutely.
to accelerate. My point is
let them in.
that everyone, especially with. So the other thing is the concept of anonymity, right? So social media has the concept of anonymity. Before, you'd know who was calling you or whatever. If someone had something to say, you'd know who it is. Now you're anonymous online. When you're in your car, you feel you're anonymous. Yeah, you can give someone the figure or whatever, but you're in your own space. You'll cut it in front of someone. Whereas if you're at the bank in the line, you're not going to cut in front of someone because someone's going to say, "Hey, get back there. What are you doing?" The concept of anonymity has caused
Absolutely.
narcissism to flourish
Explode.
in my mind.
Yeah.
Because it frees people from having to bear the brunt of the negativity of their narcissism.
I'm not so sure. I don't think that the true narcissist wants to remain anonymous. I think the people chasing celebrity on social media are more likely to be narcissists. I think that at the same time, two things can be true at the same time. I think that social media and these platforms have given people who choose to remain anonymous a power they didn't previously have. So they can get behind their keyboard
Yeah. Be
and
keyboard warriors.
they can spew whatever hate they want.
yeah.
and hide behind that anonymity.
Yep.
I don't think they're necessarily narcissists.
I agree.
Well, I disagree. They're not necessarily narcissists, but it certainly helps with the narcissistic
My point is
tendencies.
the true narcissist
Yeah, doesn't give a shit.
doesn't want to be anonymous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They don't care
They want to be
because it's all about
recognized
them.
and celebrated.
But it feeds the narcissistic fire. That's what you're talking about. Social media feeds it.
It's a behavior.
Yeah, and it amplifies that behavior.
does
is all I'm
amplify it.
saying,
It does
and it makes
amplify
it easier because someone who might be shy
Right.
in a crowded bank to cut in line will be happy to jump in front of someone on the highway, for example, or whatever. Or
Yeah, but again, I think
But those are wannabe narcissists.
Human beings are complex. I don't view those people as narcissists. The narcissist won't hesitate. I'm here.
Yeah.
Move out of the way. I'm here. I'm not waiting in line. I'm privileged.
yeah,
I'm entitled. I'm all these
wannabe
things.
narcissist. That's what we're talking about.
Yep.
There's the narcissist, the real thing, and there's the wannabes.
So I think we all kind of agree that it's exploding and it's taking
Yes.
over the world. So whoever
Yes.
that individual was who made that comment that suggested the topic was spot on. It certainly is exploding, and I think it is an epidemic. Absolutely, I think we all agree for once, don't we?
So what do we think? So if your statement is correct, that essentially in all walks of life, all the main leadership roles will be predominantly held by narcissists, what does that lead to?
Well, it leads to the destruction of social fabrics because everyone is in it for themselves, and Aki should be scared to death right now.
And it leads to
Do others agree with
echo-
Naran's statement?
echo chambers.
Yeah, because everyone's in it for themselves. Who cares about society? If everyone becomes narcissistic, then we've got issues with social adhesion, as far as I'm concerned. Because you do have to have some sort of, you have to give a shit about.
Well, or you look for social compliance.
Yeah.
Well,
okay,
if you're a dictator, if you're a Putin, and you really don't give a shit about society, there's one thing you do give a shit about. He's smart enough to know that people have to comply, or else the last thing he wants is a revolt. He's going to keep things under control,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you can pretend to care.
No,
your
you don't
point.
even have to pretend.
Well,
You just have to put the measures in place to
Or the
ensure that
policies.
there's
Yeah.
compliance.
compliance or adhesion of some sort from a societal perspective. But it's not. I don't think it's beneficial for society. That's for sure.
Absolutely not.
Is it necessarily harmful to society?
Not necessarily, but
It's
I think
harmful to democracy.
It can be harmful. I think definitely it can be. It depends on how far it's allowed to go, and yeah, I don't think it's a positive trait to begin with. Obviously, so. And my opinion counts more than anyone else's.
We can understand why.
There you go.
Dominic?
I think there are some positives. I mean, we've seen it with some of the business leaders, not necessarily political leaders, but business leaders. So, I mean, look, we have to live with it. It's here. So
So do you think we can reverse it though?
no.
So it's
So,
like
hold
Pandora's
on,
box.
reverse what?
Yeah.
The epidemic?
The epidemic. Yeah, that's interesting.
No.
You don't think so, huh?
No, because it's
No.
I don't know. I think, people just see people with success and they,
Until you have a catastrophe, because this is what happens.
Well, so here's the thing. Because we described it as an epidemic,
Yeah.
or agreed with the person who suggested the topic that it's an epidemic.
Yep.
I'm not sure it's an epidemic. It seems to be trending in that direction. Because for me, an epidemic means that the majority of people in society would display this character trait. And while I understand from your example with traffic trying to merge into traffic and so on and so forth, that more and more people are of certain profile, doesn't mean they're narcissists in the true sense, true meaning of the word. So I'm not sure it has reached epidemic proportions yet. I think it's far more prevalent
yeah.
in
Do you think-
society.
Do you think it'll go the other way though?
I don't think so.
Okay, so you're agreeing
don't
with
think so.
Dominic. So
yeah.
the only difference between your 2 points of view is you think it's more prevalent than Pat does, but you still don't think it's like Pandora's box. It's open and it's going to continue.
Yep.
Again, I think that there are people who have a certain profile who are more visible in society because of social media. And I don't see social media reversing course. And for that reason alone, I don't think that the broader issue is going to reverse course.
So I disagree.
However, I do think that if we allow things to progress to the point that we have serious crises in the world, then there will be a reaction.
Okay.
In the same way as some of the names, historical figures I mentioned earlier, who became dictators, didn't remain in those positions indefinitely.
Correct.
Because they pose a serious risk to society.
Correct.
So I'll throw something out, and you guys can tell me if it makes sense or not. But I see subsequent generations of people. We talked about Generation X, Y, Z, and Alpha, Beta. The kids that are growing up. And just like you'll have a family that's like super strict, and the kids will want to go nuts.
Revolt.
They'll revolt. Or you're gonna have parents that are hippies and let their kids do anything, and then they start wearing suits and ties and want to become surgeons or something. Kids always go in the opposite direction at a certain point. And I'm thinking that there's going to be a point where the next generation or the generation after is going to be a certain number of generations that are going to look around them and say, holy shit, where have we gotten to? We need to come back to, we need to center ourselves a little bit and stop with this narcissism. And I'm hopeful, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I'm hopeful that at a certain point, again, it's a pendulum thing. I talk about it all the time. The pendulum is going to kind of swing a little bit the other way, and we're going to have less celebration, whether it be on social media or otherwise, of narcissistic behavior, and hopefully kind of come back to neutral.
So you said you were hopeful.
I'm hopeful, yeah.
But do you think
I do.
that it is going to swing in the other direction?
I do. That's why I'm hopeful that it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen.
And even on social media.
So you guys...
Yeah, I agree with what you just said.
I disagree, because I think that human nature is the one thing that is pretty much a constant. It doesn't change. And I think we've awoken something in people that has always been there. And now there's a means through which they can exercise it.
So
I'm hopeful.
So what I do believe is that we will reach a point of crisis in society, whether it's the result of a war, whether it's a result of an ideology gone wrong in a particular country or region of the world, then I think that we are going to see a change. And it's disappointing that it's going to take something that severe for us to reverse.
And all
course
I'm
if we
saying,
do.
just to tag on to what you just said, and that's when the only time human nature can change is after a calamity like the one you're suggesting might happen. That's when human nature changes. That's what history has taught.
I don't think human nature changes. I think human behavior changes. I don't believe human nature changes.
But I do.
I think it's what it's always
I
been.
do appreciate your hopefulness because it sounds good.
But also,
disagree.
but also, aren't there also we're all well on the good news side? Don't we see some of this pushback in some social media circles where you have influencers who do bring another message, or that's just not it? They're not visible. It's
well,
a blink.
again,
There's always diverse viewpoints.
No, but I mean,
The question is,
I'm trying to think. Sorry, I'm trying to think of are they're not major influencers?
They don't get traction.
They don't get traction.
are they in the minority or the majority?
They're the minority.
Okay, then you've answered your own question.
Is that also another trend line that we're seeing, that we have more sensible voices?
we'll see over time, right? I mean, again, your point that it's gonna lead to it's gonna come to a head, as it were, and something terrible is gonna happen, and it might change behaviors. Yeah, that can happen. I'm just hoping, again, it's just a matter of hope for me, that the youngsters of today are going to look at the world that they have around them, because you gotta understand, there's going to be smart people that are being born as we speak, that are going to be coming into this earth over the next 5, 10, 20 years. And they're going to look around them, and they're going to, the smart ones are going to figure out, holy shit, what is this? Why are we doing this?
It has nothing to do with intelligence.
And as long as they can get into leadership roles and start displaying other behaviors and being able to be successful with other behaviors and be role models for generations that come after, again, I have hope.
I think
it may not happen.
I think your logic is sound, Nurin, but I don't see the world trending in that direction. If you look at the major countries of the world, the world's leading economies, you look at the world's leading military powers, who is at the head of those countries today?
Yeah, it's U.S. and China.
Are they all narcissists or not?
Well,
Absolutely.
right now, yeah,
Absolutely.
100%. And
Absolutely.
for the foreseeable future,
Absolutely.
the answer will be yes.
They're all intelligent people. It has nothing to do with intelligence. Nothing.
No, but the nature, but history, if we can...
You said yourself, you can have a narcissist who thinks of himself or herself as the most intelligent, the most capable. They may be right.
Yeah.
They're still a narcissist.
But there will be pushback. I agree with you, of course. Comrade, well done.
I don't think the word comrade is
There will be
appropriate in this
pushback.
context.
There will be pushback. There will be pushback. We have seen that. You know, the world prior to the Second World War and the world post the Second World War, it was not the same world anymore. Not the same attitudes. Not the same philosophies and way.
So we
ways
need
of
a world
thinking.
war, is what you're saying.
Unfortunately, we need a calamity.
Okay, so I disagree. Well, as I said, I've made the position clear. I'm hopeful that that's not going to be required. Let's see. I mean, you know, the other hope I have is we're going to be alive long enough to see it. on a cheerful note.
Wow.
On that note.
Anything anyone cares to add to this conversation?
Let's go on social media. Let's look for some of these voices. This is important. I think that we're already seeing the seeds of some of this.
All right, Aki, we appoint you to go do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The research department's on it.
Next.
Well, if I may, stop being a bunch of assholes. Be nice. Niceness is okay.
Can't we just get along?
Can't we all just get
Says
along?
the guy who refers to others as assholes. Yeah. Very nice.
Stop being a bunch of assholes, okay? Anyway.
I just hope that narcissists are more or contribute more positively than negatively in the end.
Yeah.
So, like Elon Musk, yeah, the guy contributed positively so far. We'll see what history will.
It's a work in progress.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I'll just, my last comment is I'll go with the Warren Buffetts and the Bill Gates that we know now. We talked about this Mr. Bill Gates at this point in his life, what he has to offer the world. So those are some pillars of hope.
Okay. Well, thank you for weighing in.
Yep.
Appreciate the conversation. To our viewers and
everyone.
listeners, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Yep.
Bye.